Hey, happy Monday to you. I'm back from teaching my classes this morning, and I thought while I'm sitting here scribbling together what our meal plan is going to be for this week, officially scribbling it down is what I should say, because my husband and I go through the same process like every single week, and even though we've got it down so well that even if we don't write it down, we're able to quickly plan it out in our heads. Sometimes even like within the grocery store, we're able to kind of say, okay, we go through our process and we know exactly what we're going to eat throughout the meal to kind of help save us from just buying extra things like all week long and spending more money than what we need to, right? From week to week. So, I am going to share with you our process now, and you can hopefully take it for yourself and work it to your family's needs. I'm going to include in here not just like how we plan for dinners, but also kids snacks, because all three of our kids bring snacks to school with them, and I have certain goals for that snack. But then also one child brings two snacks because she stays after school late usually, sometimes through a period of time. And then also there's an after school snack kind of time, because they all come home and they say, I'm hungry. And then there's also mom lunches, because I work from home. I'm stay at home. So the majority of my meals are here in the house. And I want to make sure that I'm thinking ahead for my own meals, for not just to, keep me from running through drive-thrus and save for budget, but also for my personal health and fitness goals, right? So I have a certain idea every single week that I follow, and my husband's in on it, and I feel like we've kind of got it down. Let me share with you what we do, okay? So we have the first thing that we do, if you're with me, right? Hey, Ms. Brooks. So the first thing that we do is we think about what proteins do we have. First of all, we think about what we have on hand, okay? We don't even think about looking up a recipe or thinking about what we want to eat that week, or we don't step foot into the grocery store until we first take inventory of what's in the fridge, of what's in the fridge and what's in the pantry. So I need to already have that on hand, okay? All the stuff that we already have. So, for instance, if I was to go into my fridge right now, oh Lord, I didn't think about those before I opened, so hopefully you don't see anything too embarrassing. Okay, so here we go. When you look at your fridge, okay, the first thing that you're going to notice is the things that you're always going to have. Now, listen, we make sure that we just write down, or we take a tally in our minds of what we have for proteins. That's the first thing, because we're first going to think about dinners, okay? So I'm looking in my fridge and I'm seeing, okay, eggs, I'm not really going to do that for dinner. I'm going to think about that for breakfast. So I'm looking for the proteins that I have for dinners, and we want to aim for 3. For our family, we do leftovers. If you don't do leftovers, you need to figure out how to get a stomach for leftovers if you're wanting to save your budget a little bit, okay? And if you don't care about saving your budget, buy more proteins, okay? But we try to we do plan for 3, sometimes 4, but usually 3 proteins for the week. And we will bulk buy from Costco when applicable. And if not, then we just buy from Kroger or whatever grocery store that we are frequenting that week. Now, lately, we've been doing Kroger or Costco, and that's usually our thing. We like to bulk buy from Costco as much as possible for both our proteins, and also for sometimes for our snacks, but definitely proteins and fruits, or produce, okay? Not just fruit, but produce, okay? So the proteins first. I'm gonna look in my fridge and I'm gonna see what proteins I have. So I might already have something thawing, like right now I have some chicken here thawing, but then I'm gonna look in my freezer and I'm gonna make sure that in my freezer I take note, okay, I already have some fish, And I already have some steak here. And so we knew already when we were walking in the grocery store yesterday, we knew that we had these 3 on hand. And then we have a variable of a lasagna. So if we want to throw the lasagna in there one night, we have that option, but it is frozen. Okay, so but just thinking proteins, I have my three proteins covered. Then the next thing I'm going to think about is the vegetables and the carb that is going to go with my protein. Okay, so again, what do I already have on hand? We knew that we had some Brussels sprouts already frozen in here. We have some cauliflower rice already frozen in here. We have butternut squash down here, which is actually a carb, really kind of, yeah. So I count it a little bit as a starch carb. But we have carrots. And we usually have a big old bag. Yeah, we have a little bit down here. A little bit left. We usually have more than that, but we have a little bit of broccoli down there, okay? So we knew that we had vegetables on hand. At least one of those vegetables to pair with our protein every single night. And then I also knew that in the fridge that we had some cabbage. Now this cabbage was from last week when we did fish tacos. I shared that video live with Alara and I while we were going through that, because you know the kids have been doing the cooking and the meal planning lately. So, but this week I'm doing a little bit more of the meal planning. Aiden's going to do one meal, but the rest of it's going to be me and Dad. It's a little bit of a weird week for us, okay? So anyway, we've got the cabbage here that I knew that we had, and I knew that I was going to want to cook that cabbage because we used the fresh chopped cabbage for what we needed it for, and now I want to be able to make sure that I cook it and eat it pretty quickly. Yeah? Okay. So I also knew, backtrack a little bit, I also knew for proteins that I had just a little bit of yogurt, but not enough to make it for some of my lunches. Now, the next thing is after I have, and let me go back to my list here, after I've listed out my proteins, okay, so I've listed out my proteins and I've started listing out what my veggies are, and I kind of always think to myself, okay, which ones are fresh and which ones are frozen. So you can see there I have them split up side by side, which ones are fresh and frozen. I have salad on hand and we have some kale on hand. And so I knew that I had all of my veggies really kind of covered. I didn't need to purchase any other veggies except the ones that we had run out of, that we always keep on hand, which is cucumber and tomatoes. And the reason why we always keep those on hand is because those are the 2 vegetables that when the rest of us eat salad, our 13-year-old does not eat leafy greens, so she eats cucumber, tomato as her salad. Understand? Yeah? And then the kids and then the rest of us, when we do eat salad, we like to put tomato and cucumber on it. So we just always have that on hand. So now I have my proteins and I have my veggies. And then I wrote down our fruits. We think about what fruits do we already have on hand. 9 times out of 10, y'all, we run out of fruit before the end of the week. Like by that last couple of days of the week, we're out of fruit, okay? We finish them off Saturday morning or Friday after school, and we don't have any left. So when we're going to go to the grocery store on either Saturday or Sunday, we are picking up fruit. We might have a few oranges left in the fruit bowl, but for the most part, all of our fruits are covered, okay? And depending on if we bought our avocados bulk from Costco or not, we usually go through those every week. If we bulk buy them, then it's every other week, yeah? And so we think about those things last. So we first thought of proteins, then we thought of veggies, then we thought of fruits, okay? So the next part is to think about snacks for the kids. And so usually the snacks for the kids, I plan on making sure that the snacks for the kids are 1 fruit, okay? So we already established that I don't have fruit. We always have to buy fruit. Sometimes a vegetable. Sometimes one day a week I'll throw in cucumber, carrot, or the little like cherry tomato. Sometimes, but most of the time it's a fruit, but every now and then, okay? And then the other thing that we do is We usually keep one like a carby type or protein snack that we pair that fruit with in the snack box. Okay, so I usually get them these bento boxes, and half of it is going to be a fruit or vegetable, and the other side of the container is going to be either a protein or a carb. Okay, so something crunchy helps wake them up if they're taking their snack in the middle of the morning or late morning or whatever. Okay, so let me turn you around a little bit. So for our, I knew that we had some of these. These are our Beach Bars. And I knew that we had our protein bars on hand, so I would not need to buy more. I knew that I had popcorn. And then so in addition to either the protein bars or the popcorn, I have some pretzels, but little girl has been getting a little tired of pretzels, so I decided I would change it up this week and hold off on using the rest of the pretzels for another week, and that's totally fine. So I asked her, I said, what would you like as a snack option? We'll pick up one other snack option this week. And she said, goldfish. So that's what we went with. Okay. All right. So other than that, our staples like, bread and eggs and stuff like that, we just make sure that we have those on hand. But breakfast, we kind of run through the same types of breakfast with the kids. They usually, some weeks they have cereal as one of their options. Some weeks they have bagels as one of their options. Very rarely do they have both of those because I don't like them to have a carb-based breakfast every single day, especially if they have a big, like a test day or something like that. I like, or a day that they're going to be at school an extended amount of time. I like them to start their day with breakfast being like, being a protein like an egg or one of their Greek yogurts, and fruit, one of the complex carbs, right? So they'll have fruit and a protein for their breakfast, unless it's like one of those rush, gotta get, whatever, or they just like really want cereal that morning. I'll let them do it, but they don't get to do that every day, right? So this week we had a request for cereal. We usually try to go with the lower sugar cereals. Some weeks we're able to get them to do like a bran or a frosted mini wheat kind of thing, or Life cereal. But this week it was crispy rice. Okay, it's the off-brand of like Rice Krispies, so very, very little sugar there. But our one son requested Honey Nut Cheerios, and we went ahead and went with it. I tend to stay away from like the marshmallow filled ones and stuff like that, but still, like I said, usually they're going to have like eggs and fruit, or eggs and toast and fruit, or they're going to have pancakes and fruit, or pancakes with a Greek yogurt, or like I said, once, maybe twice a week they can have cereal, and then a Greek yogurt and a fruit would be another great breakfast. And if we're not doing cereal that week, usually they're doing like a bagel that week as their optional carb breakfast, and they still will pair that with either fruit or Greek yogurt. So we kind of go through, or we fry an egg and we make it a sandwich. So, we change it up. Oh, and egg burritos. We do that one too. So those are our things. So I knew that I had those things on hand, and the only thing that I needed to think about was one other like variety option for their snacks. And so I wrote that down on my little chart. And so now I can start to make my actual meal plan, right? So I always start with dinners, like I said. So we took those proteins and veggies that we had already listed out, and we put it on the list. This is backwards for you, so I'll read it for you. We, like I said before, we always plan on a couple days to have leftovers, but we also always plan for one day. We plan one day a week that we eat out for either lunch or dinner. Usually lunch, because again, it helps with budget. And two, there's longer wait lines in the evenings when you're unless it's a date night and we're actually going out to eat as a family and we're bringing the kids, we want to avoid like hour-long waits and stuff. So this is our usual routine. I'm going to share it with you now. So on Sunday, and I'm thinking on Saturday, let me start this way. On Saturday, we're usually going to eat out, or we're going to have leftover. We're going to usually eat out, or we're going to cook a meal. And if we do not eat out on Saturday, then we usually eat out on Sunday, okay? So since we did not eat out on Saturday, we went ahead and we ate out on Sunday. And so, but if we had not eaten out, we would have had leftovers. So I'm starting here with Monday now. And Aiden has to cook his chicken curry. We did not cook it last week, so that's why the chicken is thawing in the fridge now, and we're gonna have chicken curry tonight. And the vegetable that I decided to pair with that is I'm gonna cook down the cabbage, and for those children who decide that they don't want to eat the cabbage as their vegetable, then they will have the option of having the carrots, okay? And then for the next day, we're going to plan on having leftovers, because you have to think about what you have going on in your life in each evening. And Tuesday night is going to be a busy evening for Mama. I don't have the time to watch over my kids as they're cooking, and I want to de-stress and simplify my evening routine. So we're going to plan on making sure that we have leftovers, and I'm pretty sure this chicken curry is going to make more than enough for all of us to be able to eat again tomorrow night, okay? So then that means on Wednesday, we're gonna cook our meal. And see, I changed my mind a couple of times, but I settled in on steak and mushrooms, because we have some mushrooms in there, and some of those frozen Brussels sprouts. But I'm also gonna do some of those fresh okra and tomatoes, because I wanna use up the fresh vegetables as early in the week as possible, right? So I'm planning on using up those okra. Now, some of you might be sitting here and thinking, I have kids that would not touch either Brussels sprouts or okra. And you know what? I have one of those kids. Now, for her, she gets to pick her vegetable that night. And if she doesn't want to eat the vegetable that I'm cooking for her, she has the option of either steaming herself some broccoli, which is one of the vegetables that she will eat, that's green, or she can do a raw vegetable salad of the cucumber and tomato. You get me? Okay. So then the next night, I'm going to plan on having either the lasagna and salad, or I'm going to plan on having the fish and for some of the other vegetable options, right? So I'm going to have it with the cauliflower rice and the butternut squash. And the kids and the rest of the family who wants a grain, they can have brown rice, but I'm going to have cauliflower rice. And our vegetable will be put with that. We'll have the butternut squash and, of course, a salad, because we like to make sure that we have salad several nights of the week, right? And so salad with a lasagna, of course. Now, for me, I'm usually going to be the odd man out if we cook something like lasagna. I will have some, but I want to make sure that I also have plenty of vegetables and plenty of protein that will count as an actual full serving of protein for me. And one slice of lasagna usually is going to be more carb heavy and fat heavy than protein. So for me personally, what I will likely do that night, because I know some of you are wondering what you would do to make that more of a protein type of meal, I'll probably enjoy that lasagna with my family, but then I'm going to make sure that the majority of my plate is salad, and I'll probably enjoy my chocolate shake that night, which serves as a protein for me, as like a dessert afterwards, but it still helps me keep that protein up, right? Okay, so the next thing I'm thinking about again is those school snacks. So I know that I have the beach bars that are my protein for my kids, but then I also have those goldfish that my little girl wanted, right? So like this morning, okay, in their boxes for their snacks, I did goldfish with fruit. Now I did watermelon because it's already cut up, and I did strawberries because we always try to make sure that we go through whatever fruit is freshly cut at the beginning of the week, and berries, because berries go bad really quickly. So I always make sure that in the first 3 days I'm trying to push those berries and get rid of those berries before they start growing stuff. I want to make sure that my kids are first choosing the berries for breakfast, snack, and after school snack, right? So in their first day of snacks, I'm doing goldfish and berries and watermelon because the watermelon was already cut. And then I'm going to rotate that with days that I'm doing the protein bar, the beach bar, and one of the other fruits that we have in the fridge, which I've listed here as grapes okay? Because those will also tend to go bad before some of these other fruits on the table. So let me show you. I'll turn you around real quick. We always keep fruit in a bowl on the table for them. This is like the breakfast nook, right? They can freely pull from this one. And then we have a big bowl over there. They can freely pull from that one. Yeah. So that one's all, usually for those, we always have bananas. We always have oranges. We always have apples. And then we give them an option of one other fruit to choose from at the store. That is like, sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. So I chose nectarines because they were on sale. I only had one kid with me and she didn't really care. She didn't have any input because she really likes the oranges. And so we just, Mama chose this week, right? But last week they really wanted a watermelon. So we did watermelon. So notice how we're just now cutting that one up and it's helping to serve us at the beginning of this week because we didn't get to it last week, which is perfectly fine with me, right? Okay. So we've covered school snacks and how we're rotating those. We've covered, so after school snack, they can freely reach into these bowls and get a fruit, or they can finish the snack from school if they did not get time to finish it or eat it that day in class, right? Okay. And then I always, side note about the school snack, I always pack in an extra snack, like a protein bar is usually what I go with for my daughter who has to stay late, like till like 6:30. Okay. So I give her that second protein, that she's going to be able to get at the end of like after school, before having to transition into her theater rehearsals so that she knows that she doesn't have to wait to get home to eat something, and just in case she's hungry, she can go in, she can have something to go into rehearsal time, right? So that's my usual deal. And then for me, I usually try to keep my lunches super simple, okay? I usually will hold off on eating leftovers if I know that it's a leftovers night, so that to make sure that the family gets a full reign of that, and also to help discipline myself into making sure that I get half of my lunch to be vegetables. So the easiest way for me to do that is either do salad, or I'll do those cooked cabbage that I'm sure I'm going to have a plethora of. And then on the day after I cook Brussels sprouts, I'll make sure that I eat Brussels sprouts at my lunch the next day as well, right? So I usually will have a shake and a salad, or a shake and a steamed vegetable, or I will have a Greek yogurt and a salad, or a Greek yogurt and a steamed vegetable. And yeah, unless I know that I have more than enough leftover like cooked meat, and do I rarely ever reach for a meat in the middle of the day for my lunch. So I'm pretty boring that way, but that's it. That's my usual meal planning method, and I hope that it helps you guys, and that if you have some ways that you like to meal plan, then please feel free to toss them at Amama, okay? All right, any questions or anything, feel free to drop it below. Usually when I'm looking for recipes, I'm either going to be going to my Team Beachbody blog, because I know that their health conscious focus on all of the meals that they are planning and putting out there, and they give me lots of healthy dessert options if I want to throw a dessert in the mix. But other than that, we just use handy dandy Google, and I really like the All Recipes website as well. So that's me. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.